Hello, welcome. So our topic is job order costing. So our learning objective here is to define job order costing and identify types of industries that would be most to use the system. We'll also distinguish characteristics of a job order costing, know the primary documents supporting a job order costing system and their purpose, and of course, our target is to prepare a job order cost sheet. But before that, we need to distinguish the job order costing and the process costing. So there are two types of cost systems. So we have here the process costing and the job order costing. So in the process costing, usually this is used for production of small, identical, low-cost items for homogeneous products. So the mass produce, it is also used for mass production in automated continuous production process, and the cost cannot be directly traced to each unit of product. So examples here are the petrochemical refinery, the paint manufacturer, and the paper mill. But on the other hand, for job order costing, this is used for production of large, unique, high-cost system and built to order rather than mass produced. So many costs here can be directly traced to each job. Okay, so typically, job order costing application are the following companies. So custom furniture manufacturing, building, construction, and it is also used for service industry like the hospitals, accounting, and the law firm. So for the difference of these two types of cost system, it's more on the work in process. So for the process costing, we transfer the inventory from first department. We need to go to the second department and then to the next department until we want to have this finished product. Okay, but for the job costing, so just enumerate all the costs, what are the DM, the DL, the factory overhead, and you can already identify your finished product. So that's the main difference for the both. And then for the documents use of these two type of costing. So for process costing, we need to know the cost. We need to prepare the cost of production report. While for the job order costing, we will make a job cost sheet. Okay. So going to our topic, job order cost system. So here, costs are assigned to each job or batch. So a job here may be a specific order or inventory. So the key features of this cost system is that each batch or each job has its own distinguishing characteristics. So maybe the overhead here is different with the overhead of the second job or the different job. So the objective here is to compute the cost per job. So we know that the cost per job is composed of the direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead. So it could be the cost for each job is not is different with other jobs. So you need to look whether what are the costs set for that particular period. So in job order costing, a job here is a single unit or group of units identifiable as being produced to distinguish customer specifications. So a job can be a client or customer, it could be engagement, or it could be project, it could be product or contract. So each job here is a cost object, and costs are accumulated for each job. So a job can consist of one or more units of output, and of course we need to have a subsidiary ledger for each job. So in job order costing, so there are direct materials and direct labor. So this can be traced directly for each job, and the labor can also trace directly to each job. While for the overhead here, we just look for applied overhead, the predetermined overhead, based on the activity causing the overhead. So it differs upon the our topic before, because the overhead here could be based on direct labors or based on per activity of that particular job. So this is the job order cost flow. the cost flow parallels the physical flow of the materials as they are converted into finished goods. So still, manufacturing costs are assigned to work in process, and then when it is completed, it is transferred to finished goods, and when they are sold, they are transferred to cost of goods sold. Just like what we do in the previous topics. So we have here the materials purchase, the direct labor, the factory overhead. You can put it in the balance sheet for the if they are not yet sold, so they are part of the finished products, not yet sold, so inventoryable. But for those products that are sold, so this is part of the cost expenses. Okay, so we have also here the period cost, which is for selling and administrative. They will be going to the income statement, while the product cost could be seen in the cost and expense as part of the COGS, and the balance sheet as part of the inventory. Okay, so here, as you can see, we have the DM, the direct materials, and the indirect materials. So if it will be processed, or it will be, the direct materials will be put to work in process, while for the indirect materials will be seen in the factory overhead. For the direct labor, you can see it in the work in process, and then for the indirect labor, you can see it in the factory overhead. So other factory overhead will be also seen in the factory overhead control. And then if it is applied already in the work in process, he will only put the applied overhead in the work in process account. So it is based on the predetermined overhead rate. And then if it is manufactured and finished, so they will be transferred to finished goods, and if they are sold, so they will be transferred to the cost of goods.